Hello, my name is Tyler Russo, and today we're going to be looking at Orc Codex leaks for however long it takes for me to fall asleep. It is 1:56 a.m. Yeah, so these, some hero at Games Workshop accidentally posted the entirety of the Codex on the app, for those who don't know. It's been all over Reddit. This is the talk of a town. It's kind of big news around these parts. I played a test game earlier for wacky Freebooterz army, and boy howdy, this is the game is completely different. I mean, just like looking over all this shit, like it's insane how much this changes just like fundamentally how orcs play. First and foremost, I think the thing that has me most excited for future games is I wish it was the Deff Kill War Trick. It is not, but where the fuck are they? Hold up. It's Warbikes. I don't know. I should have done a better job getting this stuff ready in time. But yeah, it's the thing that excites me is bikes with the Snakebites trait because they're stupid durable. At least compared to how durable I thought they were gonna feel. I mean, just the bikes themselves are 3 wounds each. Wait, let me get the profile up before I continue talking. Yeah, Warbikers are bonkers. So the boss knob has 4 wounds. The base bikers themselves are at 3 wounds for 25 points a model. Boys are 9 points each. Granted, it's generally easier to kill a multi-wound model than a bunch of individual models, but yeah, 3 wounds and a 14-inch move and 10 DACA shots within close range. For those of you who don't know, how DACA works now is it's basically like a rapid fire profile. So if you're 18 inches away, you're gonna get 3 shots with your little dog guns, and if you're within 9 inches, you're gonna get 5. Each warbike has 2 DACA guns, so it's a 6/10 strength 5 AP 0 gun. And there's the speedwalk ability gives DACA guns an AP of -1 when it's activated. Those are all gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be if it's a full squad of bikes, that's 90 AP1 shots, strength 5 damage 1 on a 25.3 wound model, and they have a 4-up save on top of that, and they're -1 to hit. Like, just the value is it feels incredible. And yeah, I mean, they're still boys in melee. Like, they get 2 attacks and a chop at each. If you have 20 or more orcs in a squad, you no longer get an extra attack too. So I think there's a lot less incentive to do that. And I mean, yeah, like outside of like, well, there's a few options. I don't think actually Death Skulls confers OBSEC to these. I think it's still just infantry. There was a rumor that it didn't give OBSEC to anything at all, and at least according to these screenshots, that's not true. I can try and find out later. But I think the like 2 most exciting ways to me right now for Warbikers, like to run them is like MSU Freebooterz, or just big Freebooters if you want to take a shit ton of them. They'll be getting +1 to hit for the Freebooters competitive streak, which is the same as the last Codex, except there's no range on it anymore. So it used to be like Freebooters units, if they kill an enemy unit in the shooting phase, or whatever, yeah. So if you kill an enemy unit, for the rest of the phase, friendly Freebooters within 24 inches get +1 to hit. And now it's just Freebooters, period, get +1 to hit. Or friendly Freebooters, I should say. So yeah, you take these Warbikers, you mow down a squad, and then proc it for the rest. Or you proc it for bigger things in your army. You could proc it for, I mean, the main thing I'm excited about is shock attack guns. It on 4s now, which is awesome. It's like one of my favorite models thematically. And with the Freebooters clan, you can get them to a 3. And Warbikes feel like one of the most efficient ways to do that. And then the other exciting way to run Warbikes to me is making them Snakebites. In which case, anything that's less than strength 8 is going to wound them on a 4. And I think the reason why this is appealing more so than like it is for boys is I think the biggest threat to these is like autocannon type weapons, like strength 7-ish, AP -1, 2 damage type profiles are going to mow through these. And if you're making them wound on 4s, that's a huge boost in durability. So I think like I don't know. I'm torn. They both seem really good. It's going to take a lot of playtesting to decide, but yeah, it's really awesome. To that same point, Meganobz, another thing that makes them kind of weak is like spamming multi-damage weapons freight, and if you are making those now not being able to wound them on better than a 4-up with Snakebites feels like a great contender too, to be a popular unit within that clan. Taking either like 3 small units, or I can see like a big bowling ball, and then you use the strat that gives them an extra point of damage being super good together. Yeah, just having them like roll around and like a teleporter or like a battle wagon seems awesome. I don't think looted are still a stratagem, so you can't give them that 1-up save anymore. I gotta double check though, I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing that, like just browsing over the stratagems earlier. Again, this is like an incomplete leak though. Another crazy thing that fits like in line with Snakebites thematically that I'm hyped on is the Squig buggies. So they have the heavy Squig launcher, which is assault 2d6, strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage, right? Weapon can target units that are not visible to the bear, and there's an upgrade that exists somewhere. Oh, back to the point on shock attack guns before I move forward with these Squig buggies. So yeah, you can give a single shock attack gun for 15 points, feels super worth, a heavy 2d3 profile instead of d6 for a little bit more consistency. And then like with Freebooters, you can reliably make them hit on 3s every turn. Like, yeah, it's almost as good, or I think you could argue it's better than the souped up Shaka in its heyday. Well, maybe that's a stretch, but the problem with the souped up Shaka is it's like super command point heavy. And it was also around in a time when like snipers were a lot more prevalent in the meta, which has kind of gone away. I don't see people taking a lot of things to deal with characters right now. It's just not like a mechanic you have to worry about most of the time. Most characters that are popular are like very durable or late beat sticky, or like so small utility that like it's not worth taking like dedicated firepower for them. But like, yeah, no one's running like a central menace of their army as a character that's just pumping out like a shit ton of damage and can't be targeted right now. So like, I mean, when's the last time you saw like a Vindicare assassin or eliminators? It's like it's a huge anomaly. And like Gene Sewer Cult has a lot of great sniper type characters. It's not a popular army in the meta right now. They were during peak like souped up Shaka days. So that's another huge difference. I think like triple shock attack guns are like back, or at least 2. I'm gonna start running 2 consistently with Freebooters for a while and see how that goes. Anyway, yeah, really exciting. You can still run them as Death Goals, but I think I'm more excited about the Freebooters possibility. Death Skulls, you no longer get the damage roll, you only get the hit and wound reroll, which is better than I thought we were gonna get, honestly. But I haven't done the math, but I feel like hitting on 3s is a little better than reroll 1 hit, reroll 1 wound. I don't know. I might be wrong though. Fortress, really good. There we go. Nitro Squigs. Yeah. So it's 25 points, which is a bit, but buggies don't split anymore for better or worse. I think it's worse as a whole, but they're only 90 points, so you're going to pay $295 for a squad of 3 buggies, and one of those buggies will be the last one to die, and that's going to be the one with the Nitro Squigs, presumably. So you can keep this the whole time. It's not like your opponent can just target the better buggy and eliminate it right away. Corkscrew is missing, at least from this list, which is sad. That was one of my favorite ones, and it really made Megatron Scrap Shits more interesting. But I haven't seen their data sheet yet. There's been no leak for that I'm aware of, so I'm excited to see what like their rocket cannons and guns have shifted to. Shackle Hole seems cool. Yeah, so I mean, I'll read it out loud. You can read it too. Each time an enemy unit selects this model as a target, not a 4-up. Yeah, so every time they're targeted, you deal D3 mortal wounds on a 4-up. You can combine that. There's a warlord trait that makes it so that when, I don't know if it's vehicle or speed freak or what the stipulation is, but you do mortal wounds on a 2-up when you charge, and then they have to shock a hole, do mortal wounds on the return, and then taking like a like Blood Axe army, where you're just spamming like mortal wounds on the charge repeatedly and like falling back from combat and charging again, feels like it's going to be another like potentially pretty viable build. There's that like knob that they previewed in Warhammer Community, riding the big squig. Let me see if I can find that. I don't know. I don't know the profile is. It's not like leaked in this like Imgur Hell album though. It's just on Warhammer Community somewhere. But this fucking guy, the knob on Squig, deals a lot of mortal wounds on the charge. I think it's like up to like 5 or something bonkers like that. Like you roll 5 dice and for each 4 up he does a mortal wound is what I want to say. Kill rig looks interesting too. Yeah, but Scrapjets, these guys, and a warlord that does D3 mortal wounds on a 2 up on the charge. You can combine that with ramming speed, so on a 2 up he's doing 2d3 mortal wounds on the charge, and then also like d3 mortal wounds on a 4 up. I think there's like some other gimmicky way to do d3 mortal wounds of a single character, and I'm trying to remember if I feel like I looked and realized they like stacked and was like blown away, but I can't find it now. Yeah, that's the other archetype that like I don't have the models for as much, but like excites me on paper. Just the ability to take like a very fast, relatively durable mortal wound engine based around like beast nagas and a character that does a shit ton of mortal wounds on the charge. Like war bosses are restricted 0-1 per detachment now, so I think taking a patrol and a battalion might not be too bad of an idea. I mean, I know like the game has sort of pushed a lot of armies towards playing single detachment and saving those CP, but I mean for the orcs I feel like there's a lot of things that feel like totally worth justifying 2 CP for a separate detachment here if you wanted to mix clan cultures. And yeah, there might be some like canonical type ability or like Necron, like whatever the fuck it's called, where they progressively get more stuff throughout the game, and it's like a different effect that's secret each turn. That like would be negated by taking multiple clan cultures, but we haven't seen anything like that yet, and I'm kind of hoping they don't, because I think it's an annoying mechanic. But yeah, I see plenty of reasons to take a mixed culture army right now. Like yeah, taking the mortal wound stuff on blood axes and then having that be the damage, the hammer of your army, but an anvil of just like hyper durable like Snakebites alongside that feels like it's going to be a popular army like very, very fast. I know a lot of people are like arguing against Snakebite Boys being that good, and I mean I think they're right. Like there's a lot of damage 6 and 7 weapons in the game, but it's not, you know, earth shattering. But I think where the Snakefight clan culture is like most exciting to me is like things like bikes and like the squig riding guys and things that have like multiple wounds, where you're really gonna increase their like durability a bit more than like you know, if autocannons are going into boys, because usually at boys people are going to be shooting like 1 damage strength 4 maybe 5 guns, where they're going to be wounding them on 5s. And I feel like towards your like specialist multi-wound models, that's where like the mid-range shots are gonna go, of like, you know, disintegrator equivalents. There's some fun gimmicky relics too. I really want to build something around Vided's shiny shooter. Like just like weird weapons like that are always like so funny and awesome to me. I know, like, yeah, like in the early Orc Codex, there was like some experimental play of people taking like the sort of like B tier relics to great success that sort of disappeared with time. But I think those more like I've always like meta shifts in 40k. I think it's more due to people just like copying what they see and they know works, rather than like something objectively being the best way to run an army. Like if you were to compare it to something like Magic, it's not a very like subjective game, right? Like Magic, you have your deck, and the deck has mechanics that are like set, and the parameters of those don't change from game to game. But 40k, like maybe one game, you know, there's like a lot more terrain or less terrain, and you want to keep your warlord in a transport or not, depending on that. The deployment zones introduce a lot of variability, just like the mechanics of like movement and variety and like mission and battlefield. I think like make the justification for like weird, not as like tried and true tested stuff more viable in 40k than it is in a game like Magic. And not that that's like not viable in Magic and that things are, you know, like just perfected and netless initially, but I think 40k has like even more room for like craziness, just because of like how it's like not, and for better or for worse, that was like a ton of variety each time. Fixer Upper is the same to my understanding. Oh no, actually it's different, I take that back, but it's not, I don't know. I don't know where mechs are at. I guess, yeah, the dead shiny Sheeta on a mech, I wonder if mechs in general might have ballistic skill 4 up now. That would be very cool. I'd have to find the data sheet, but it's something to look out for, because if the big mech of Shock Attack Gun does, then I can see a case for just normal mechs having a 4 ballistic skill too. And again, this has the DACA keyword, which means that the Speedwog like DACA ability is going to be affected, and they're going to get an extra point of AP, which is very valuable. I mean, this is basically like, I can see people doing something where like, I mean, it's like shorter range, 18 inches is like kind of a problem, but this feels like functionally similar to like a Talon Master. A lot less accurate, but you could make like a little baby Talon Master, like mech inside of a truck or something that goes alongside the hammer of your force, and it's just pumping out like a reasonable number of shots if it's like and maybe, you know, hitting on like 3s or 4s potentially if it's Freebooterz. It doesn't feel bad at all to me. I mean, yeah, we're 18-inch heavy bolters. Gobshot Thunderblast still here. This is still awesome. Bad Moons is like, they're one of the more underwhelming clan cultures to me. I don't know like what's out there. I didn't do any. I know Auspex Tactics like had a video to like scan through, but like, so yeah, I don't know what like videos are out there, people talking about this stuff and breakdown, but I'm like tired and a little buzzed right now, so I'm just gonna ramble and go over stuff that excites me and hope it is useful or interesting to people out there. Yeah, Goth seems sick. I think like Beast Snagga Boy Goth armies are for sure going to be a big thing, and boys still have play too. I know, yeah, so like talking about boys real quick, talking about boys, boy talk, I feel like the days of like 30-man boy blobs might be a little numbered. I haven't seen any stratagems that feel incredible to me yet, or like a reason why I'd want to take like a shit ton. I think Warboss have an ability where they can grant extra attacks. I don't remember now, but like MSU boys, or maybe if not MSU, like, you know, like smaller boy squads than 20 seem better, because you don't get an extra attack for having 20 or more models anymore, and there's no green tide as far as I can tell anywhere in here. Those are the main reasons. So like the remaining reasons I think are just like the jump, which like I personally never really used defensively that much, because a 9-inch charge isn't that reliable, and like if you had Evil Suns and like Irigo, obviously there was like a reasonable chance of making that charge, but Evil Suns don't get +1 to charge anymore. So and like Irigo is also reroll both dice, not one or both. There's a stratagem that allows I think a Gorkanaut or Morkanaut, or maybe Deff Dreads too, I don't remember. Like certain vehicles can reroll one or both, like the old Irigo for a CP. But yeah, I don't know, man, about using the jump offensively. I think it's still a great spell, but it's less consistent too, because boys no longer confer a buff to the cast roll for your weird boys. So yeah, you're just relying on your weird boys merit alone, and you can take Scorch Get Bones for that +1. That's probably going to be more useful if you're running weird boys. But yeah, I mean, needing a 6 is not the worst for spells, but not like incredibly reliable too. So the liability of like that on top of like needing to make the charge after just feels like a weird reason to jump like 30 boys into somebody's face. I'd rather use like Stormboyz that just like rely on their fast moving and they're more consistent. Speaking of which, Stormboyz are only 15 models a squad now, not 30, which is kind of a disappointment. As someone who owns like 90 Stormboyz, it's definitely a disappointment. But I don't know. They seem like they could be pretty good. I think a Stormboy rush is like not out of the question at all as a like just like throw this in your opponent's like face turn 1 option to have, make them deal with it, and it's not really like that many points to invest in for a little distraction unit. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think they're like 10 or 11 right now. Killkins are so awesome. They're another unit I like play tested in the game. They're rockets that work. The only thing that makes me really nervous about them is they have leadership 6, and I haven't seen any ways to like get around them running away. I haven't seen anything that like prevents their morale. So I think like I ran a unit of 3 in my game, and 2 died and the third one ran away, and I think it's gonna be not like an uncommon problem, especially like if you run 6, then it just feels like you're shooting yourself in the foot. They get an extra attack if you run a bunch of them, but it doesn't feel worth like, you know, having that much greater of a chance of them running away. And they have Ramshackle, which is awesome too, like slightly worse duty eternal reduced damage thing. Deff Dreads are unit 2 now. Actually, maybe, yeah. I don't know. I think custom Mega Blasted Deff Dreads are still for sure going to be good. We don't get the damage reroll of Death Skulls anymore, but custom Mega Blasters get more shots, so I think that's like a perfectly fine trade-off. Yeah, they're Assault D3 now. And Blast for better or worse. So I don't think, I mean, I never really liked running 4 custom Mega Blasters. I always like the 3 a lot with like the 1 claw. I think that's even maybe more so the case now. I guess you could just command and try very hard never to get like tapped, but yeah, Freebooterz custom Mega Blasters feel solid. The problem with like running Death Skulls for these still is that they don't split anymore, they just stay a unit, right? So you're not getting as much value of the reroll 1 hit 1 wound per unit shenanigans that were going on before. Yeah, I think just getting a +1 to hit for the entire squad is going to be better. I love this grind. Like, I love researching stuff. I like the anticipation of trying to figure out and guessing what stuff's going to be, and then the scramble to like make sense of this like new confusing world we find ourselves in. But this is like definitely not my first Codex release, or the first Codex I've like absorbed this way, which is like weirdly piecemeal and trying to understand the larger picture from like fragments before launch. And I mean, yeah, I like it a lot, but it's like very exhausting too. Like I've done this like so many times. I don't know. I don't know why I'm complaining. Yeah, Gorkanauts, Lord of War, not awesome. Or I don't know if it matters that much. Gorkanauts being like Lord of War means that you can make a like super heavy detachment pretty cheap points wise, and you can just take 2 of them and like a stomp it together for the low price of like roughly 1,300 points, 1,350 points or something like that, or maybe it's like 14 something. I think it's actually higher. I think the new Gorkanaut is 360, it'd be 365 points. And this is 675. So yeah, for like a little over 1,400. You can run 3 super heavies with totaling in 84 wounds for T8 and a 3-up save. It's pretty good. And you could get a custom force field in there still. Everyone's like freaking out, I know, about them having a 6-up invul instead of a 5-up. There's still a stratagem that allows you to increase the force field to a 5-up instead for 2 CP. And honestly, I feel like most games I don't end up using the force field more than like the first 2 turns, at least like to great effect. I like certainly don't mind just having a force field and having to pay an extra 2 CP to use it, but giving it like a much larger radius, because it's no longer requiring the models and effects to be wholly in, it's just like partially in. Flat 9 damage on the Mega Java feels so good. I mean, just the most like exciting thing about the book to me though is it feels like no matter what happens, there's not gonna be like this is the like definitive orc build and like the best thing this Codex can possibly do. It feels like there's gonna be a lot of options that are like sort of
equally or like comparably viable in different ways, and I think that's awesome. Just like giving people a lot of like rooms and cool tools and flexibility makes it like a strong codex, even if it's not at least like immediately. I don't like the general consensus seems to be that there's nothing like Drukari or Admech levels are broken, and a lot of those combos people were like hyped on now from those codexes were like obvious pretty quick, and there's nothing in here like that, but I don't think that's bad. I mean, there's a lot of things that are like good in here, and I don't really want orcs to be like the best possible army in the world either. I don't know, maybe 9 Squig buggies is like insane and unprecedented. I'm just undervaluing them. That's entirely possible still too. Maybe we should buy 9 Squig buggies just in case. Burn Boys have some sick shit too. AP neg 2 in melee is a big deal. Okay, I think I'm doing it. I'm finally myself tired talking about orc stuff, and either I fall asleep at my desk or I keep doing this on my phone and eventually fall asleep there too. I'm in the process of moving right now, so I haven't been able to really do much like lobby video stuff. But yeah, I want to soon. And yeah, work's been pretty crazy, but I hope yeah, let me know. Do you guys give a shit about rules? I don't know who watches this channel or like what your relationship to Warhammer is. So if me meandering and just like talking about rules and looking at like orc rule previews is exciting in some capacity to you, but that's great, and I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I mean, I could look at this shit and talk about it all day. Like, yeah, it's a bold new world we're entering, and yeah, we have a Discord. If you're here, you're probably in it, but if you're not, it's free to join, and you can keep talking about this stuff directly with me. I'll DM you constantly and blow up your phone about a weird cloud of smoke idea I had at like 2 a.m. Oh, Kareen's so good. What an awesome like thematic stratagem. I didn't see Flying Edbud in here, but I didn't see anything that says that like Psychic Awakening is going to be invalidated anytime soon too. So fingers crossed that like that sticks around for a while. We can combine these together. Yeah, thanks for coming by though, and yeah, join the Discord if you want to keep talking about orc stuff. Maybe I'll make another one of these videos where I'm like a little more awake and like not rambly. But yeah, that's my takedown on new orc stuff for now. Thanks for coming. Bye.